Honestly, she's got a big, oh, there you are.
There you go, I am.
Big voice, look at it as well. It's like butter wouldn't melt. Can you see her?
Oh, she's so sweet.
Looking at me barking as though, here's my attention. I'm getting it all day long. What are you doing? It's as though she just knows to play up. She's like children, honestly. No better than the kids. No, you are.
Oh.
You saying hi to Lorna?
Hello, gorgeous.
Honestly. Oh my gosh, I took her to my favourite spot. Usually I only take the 2 big dogs, but I thought, do you know what? She's ready and she's actually really well behaved outside. So I thought, I'm going to try her with it. It's basically a secluded forest.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about it yet, although I'm going to have to stop posting about it because I think my locals are going to end up clocking on and then they're going to go. But yeah, she was brilliant. She was so good. Weren't you? You were just so good. Anyways, that's enough puppy talk. What I'll do is I'll pop you on to it's just a wee bit pernickety with Zoom, trying to get it live on Facebook. Whereas with StreamYard, it kind of does it naturally for you. But 2 wee seconds, I'll just pop it on and just say, come join us for a playther. And then I have to just go into group and then try and find the group out of all of the groups you're a member of, which is a lot. Holistic. Ridiculous, isn't it? How many groups we're all a part of?
Yeah, need to get rid of some of them.
Definitely.
Don't even engage with them. So
me too, definitely. Honestly, and some of them can just be so negative.
I think we're on.
That's us, yeah, I think we are. I'm going to go off of it though, because it just distracts me having it on, because then it starts pinging and then I get distracted. So it is live, so I'm just coming off of Facebook now so that I don't get distracted. And then I can just talk to you. Right, what am I going to do? So I'm going to try and dog proof the room so that I don't get. She's got my glove. You get my glove. So welcome. If anyone's joining us this evening, welcome to our next graduate conversation, and it's the one and only Lorna Williams. So Lorna, you were again one of the kind of original students of the HGA. You joined in 2021, is that right?
Yes, it is.
And then you graduated pretty quickly as well. I mean, for some reason, the first intake seemed to just fly through the course content. I don't know what's happening. Hold on, I'm getting distracted. Right, Jack, I'm working. You have to. No, you're not using, because you need my phone to listen to the music. No, go play with your friends. Honestly. So yeah, so for some reason your intake just seemed to fly through the course content. So tell us a wee bit about why you first kind of decided to join the HGA, and give me a wee bit of background as to what you do as well. You were just starting your grooming business at that point, weren't you?
Yeah, so I started, I firstly started doing a dog walking business around 2014. Really enjoyed it. I was out of the retail rat race that I was in that I really didn't enjoy. It was very toxic. I love dogs. And I just wanted to be with dogs. Ever since I was little, I had a dog and she was my best friend. Seems really sad, isn't it? But I loved her to bits and I couldn't wait to get home. But I never thought about going in that direction because I just didn't think I was clever enough. You know, my sister's a veterinary nurse and I thought, oh, she's got the great job with the dogs and all the animals. I'll just go and work in a shop because they've told me at school that I'm not good enough and I won't amount to much because I'm not clever enough. So I sort of meandered down there. But I just had it in my mind, oh, I'd like to do dog grooming. I wonder what it's like to do dog grooming. I didn't know anything about it and had very little knowledge on dogs. So I thought, let's get a course. Went to college, did my level 2, level 3. I did that in 2017. And then I set up in 2019, sort of July time. But literally within having one bad customer, like the first one that ever came through the door, I ended up going back to do an OCN with another training provider, and didn't finish that one either, just because COVID hit and I was too worried about being in the environment with like the COVID and stuff. But all I'd wanted was the experience. of more hands-on time with the dogs, different breeds, and I knew that I probably wouldn't get like a massively wide range of breeds through the salon anyway when I started, but I just wanted to know what other dogs were like, so that's why I wanted more experience, so that's why I did that course. And then lockdown happened, and I found you on
just keep talking.
Is it all right?
Yeah.
I found you, I was listening to a podcast. It was like a day like today. It was nice and sunny. I was sitting outside listening to the podcast, and you came on. I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm trying to do, but didn't know. I just thought I was doing it wrong, and that I was a bad groomer because I was sort of taking the dog on and off the table, or I was on the floor with the dog, or I was just trying different things. And I thought, I'm either doing something right and I'm helping these dogs, or I'm a really bad groomer and I'm just not going to be any good at this job, because I'd already gone down the lines of people saying I was too emotional with the dogs, that was too empathetic towards the dogs. I needed to be more dominant with the dogs. They'd walk all over me if I wasn't stronger, or held the paws for longer, or tied the dog up as much as possible to get the job done, because the customer was who you needed to impress. And if you didn't impress the customer, you get a bad review, and your business would, you'd fail basically. But when I heard you talking, I was like, yeah, that's it. That's the direction I want to go in, and that's the kind direction. I'm not saying groomers aren't kind. Everybody goes into the job wanting to be. They love the animals. They love the dogs. You wouldn't do it if you didn't. But I think there's a massive gap in the education. The course should be, the grooming courses should be a lot more in depth than just 1 day a week for a year. Maybe 2 to 3 people on a dog at college. I know it's hard to get dogs in, but they need to be really more picky with dogs, and the environment needs to be set up more compassionately for those dogs. So I was thinking the other day, actually, like doing a lot of things with puppies, that college isn't the right place for a puppy to go with a load of other dogs. So first thing to do is to be put into a crate. They might not have been in a crate before, but the draw to that is that it's a tenner, and when you get your dog groomed, and it's students, and they need the practice. But I just thought the whole setup was just wrong, and it was too forceful, and 2 blasters on one dog, and I mean, a lot of dogs don't like one blaster on them, let alone 2. I put it on my own arm the other day, and I was like, wow, this is really powerful. It's blowing my arm away. So yeah, I wanted to do something more different, and not to be worrying all the time, because those dogs that are in my care, I want them not to be scared. I don't want them to be like, shaking with fear when they come to the salon, running in the other direction, and vomiting, and be, all sorts of things that happen when they're really fearful. And don't get me wrong, I do still go through phases of, I just feel like the massive imposter syndrome, and like, oh, what am I doing? And I get upset, and then I have days where I'm like, oh, this has been brilliant today. I love my job. And the next time I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm knackered again, because I've had 3 dogs in that have been, really challenging. But I don't put that on the dogs, and the dogs aren't naughty. The dogs are frightened. The dogs aren't used to the grooming environment, and it's not their fault. And it's not my fault either. So
it's not your fault. And would you say that since you've kind of graduated, then are more people kind of drawn to you for being quite empathetic and being quite kind of holistic inclined? Do you find you get a lot more kind of behaviour specific clients now that you've graduated?
Yeah, I am. I still don't feel like 100% that I'm there with the behaviour. I know like the basics and stuff, and I know there's lots of the graduates who are like flying over the head of me, but you've got to start somewhere, and you don't know what you don't know, so you can learn, can't you? And if I do get a client that I can't quite cope with, then I know others now that I can pass them on to. And that was a massive part of, when that unit where we had to like approach people, and I was like, oh, I can't. And then I did it, and I was all right. I didn't die. But through doing that, I've met people, and I've got other people to bounce off, not just groomers. I've got behaviourists and trainers as well. And we get together, and you know, we talk about the dogs. We have a come meet for a coffee or something like that, or I go to their salons and things, and it's good to have support.
Yeah, I remember you being kind of one of the first of my students that actually went out and did something about networking. And I remember you having people into the salon just for chats and things like that as well. It's such an important part of our jobs, especially when we're one-to-one, to have that network, that support network. And you know something, Lorna, see when you were tapping into that, you know, never been able to do anything academic because you're not smart enough. It was really strange because when I was at the Dogs Trust convention over the weekend there, I was speaking to a girl who was in charge of training students academically in the handling of safari animals. It was really fascinating, actually. So now she works in guide dogs, but she originally had came from this safari, I can't remember, it was somewhere in Sheffield. And she was saying what I hated about it. And she says it was all very much City and Guilds framework. She says, but what I hated about it was that I had to, it was basically a tick box exercise. And so like what we would see as teachers would see students who were like probably, you know, far more advanced in their handling skills than say the likes of people who could academically write something, but they couldn't pass these people because they couldn't write a certain way or they couldn't put it across in writing. So simply because of boxes had to be ticked, there was amazing handlers that were having to be told that they couldn't get the qualification. She says, and that was the hardest part about her job, was that although the qualification's there to show competency, it doesn't really prove, you know, much, because there's people out there that can't maybe get the qualification because they maybe aren't confident with that aspect of it, but it doesn't by any means mean that they aren't capable of doing a job, if not even better. So there's for you. I mean, it was such a really interesting observation from her to come out and say that.
Yeah, it is. I think it's you're either academic or you're not, and that's one thing that I'm not heavy into the reading things. I like to watch, I like to listen, I like to do, and I learn more that way. If you sit me with a big book, I'll be procrastinating and going and cleaning the house, or you know, cleaning the stairs, or taking the dogs for a walk. I'll do anything but sit there. So there's no point forcing me into the box. It's the same at school, really. I was creative. I was always creative. I was like, art was my favourite subject, and it's the only A I got for GCSEs. Then I went on to do photography. Went to university to do photography. So it's all just creative. And although there is an element of creativity to grooming, that doesn't outweigh the care. If you understand. So yeah, they look great when they're like breed standard start. They look brilliant, and those groomers are super talented, but it's not me. I'll have a go, but it's not me, because I just want to make sure the dog's happy and over the like perfection. So,
and see, the thing is when you're talking, because it's funny again, because obviously we're trained as groomers, we instantly think of creative as in styling. But for me now, I look at creative as being able to think outside the box, look at things and see things that maybe other people can't see. And that's where you are. That's where your strengths lie. And what you're saying as well, Lorna, is that you're able to assess an environment and see things that other groomers might not be able to see. And that's your strength.
Yeah, that was one of your units about setting up your salon.
Yeah,
that was one of my favourite units, because you know, getting on the floor and like sort of seeing it at a dog's view. And today I've had a teacup chihuahua come in to have her nails done. She's 9 and she's like this big, and I said to her, can you imagine what it's like down there looking at this world? And she'd come from a groomer's that was like quite corporate. There's lots of other dogs, lots of groomers. She says, and she was always really scared. I said, well, now she's getting older as well, to have sort of a quiet environment where really she's that small, it's going to take me like 15 minutes to give her a little bath and a little towel dry, and then she can be on her way, rather than, you know, be shut away maybe in a crate for a while waiting for the dog to be done to the next one. So yeah, the salon setup thing for me, it was great because I could really look and draw those pictures and you know, I'd change mine if I could, but at the moment I can't. But I have got ideas going on. It's going on all the time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. If I could build a new salon at the bottom of the garden, I'm saying that all the time to my husband with a, you know, with an office.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
The payoff is that he can put all this guitars in the other one, so he can get out the way.
Do you play guitar? Is this what? Are you a musician as well?
No.
Oh.
I'm not. No, it's Matt. It's my husband, Matt.
Oh, is it?
He does guitars. He does drums. He does keyboards, bass guitars, everything. Yeah, that's everything. Small semi-detached house though. But yeah,
your neighbours must love you.
The neighbours are brilliant. The neighbours love their rock music, so we're like we found brilliant neighbours.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like I was saying, the salon setup thing, you know, I really enjoyed that, and I absolutely loved doing the one regarding like a multi-groomer salon, because I was like, oh well, we could do this with just a bit of thought. You could do this, but it's whether others would want to sort of incorporate that sort of thing.
It's quite awkward, isn't it? Because you're then relying on other people being on board with it, and it's just that kind of awkwardness around the topic. But the kind of purpose of the course and that unit in particular is to try and show people that maybe you can't be completely holistic, and that's okay, but even the smallest changes can make the biggest difference. And if we try and kind of come from a different perspective and think, okay, it's not about eradicating stress completely, but what can we do to maybe reduce some of the triggers, some of the stressors in the environment, because that's going to do something, rather than us doing nothing and then creating no change. But you know what, for someone that's not academic as well, you did cope really well with the course content. So even like the texty aspect of it, you were very good at doing it. So I think that you're quite down on yourself. I don't actually think you realise how good you are at doing that sort of kind of study and critique and then essay type structure. So in terms of the course content, you kind of answered it anyways. You really enjoyed kind of having that more problem solving, creative, you know, those types of units. Is there anything you feel was kind of lacking in the course? And please don't be afraid to say it, because we like to hear that sort of feedback anyways. Was there anything I could have done to make it easier for you?
No, because it was so easy to follow. I had it all printed out. I had to have it all printed out on a bit of paper. Maybe it's because I'm a bit older. I just like that. And I've still got it, and I kind of got lines through it and stuff because I can follow it a lot easier. I'm a bit like, I don't really like going on the computer so much. Yeah. But and also because you had a good mixture of like videos to watch, or like go to YouTube, find video, like assess what you see in there. I really enjoyed that, and the books that you sort of said, you know, look into these books, and I'd sort of dip in and out, so I didn't have to read the whole book. I'd just dip in and out. So yeah, I think there's a really good mix. I think the only thing we could probably add, and I know it's hard because of everybody's location, is probably like a meetup, just so that.
Oh, Lorna. No, you've read my mind. Right. No, I'm planning this. So are you on the student? No, you're on the graduate group, aren't you, right now? Did I post that up earlier on? I am thinking, right, okay, well, after the convention over the weekend, so one of our students currently, Claire, came down to see the conference, and it was actually really lovely to connect and actually see the face. So what I've been thinking about doing is trying to get some sort of HGA retreat where we can all just come together and just connect. And it doesn't even have to be learning, it could simply just be, you know, getting to connect with one another, share our stories and our experiences. So that's something definitely we're going to be trying to do. So would that be something you come to as a graduate as well?
Yeah, definitely. It's I think it's a good aspect of maybe self-care as well, because then we're connecting with people that are on our wavelength as well, and you just get to meet all the faces. And you know, I know that we're all from different parts of the country with different ages, with different stages in life and career, but we've all got one sort of common goal, haven't we? And that's to make sure the dogs get the best from us. And that would be brilliant.
You know, it's like we're already ice broken anyways, because we've all got, like you say, that common love and adoration for dog care. So it's something that we all have in common, although we are like so different. But yeah, no, I'm so excited that you actually said that, because it's definitely something that I'm going to have to look into, and then just have it somewhere kind of semi-central so that everyone can get to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's fantastic. So what would you say would be your kind of key learning point from leaving the HGA then? What was the most beneficial thing you've learned?
Self-care.
Yeah.
I know I know it sounds, for me at the beginning, self-care wouldn't have been high on my list because it's got to be about the dogs. But without caring for myself, then I'm no use to the dogs. So just looking into what I enjoyed. So I meditate quite a lot now. I meditate. I do yoga a lot. I look for a video. So I do like yoga with Adrian, and I find a YouTube video, and I'll just click on one that's like nervous system, or when you're stressed out, or just like a quiet one where you're just like doing a few like slow movements, and within those movements my mind's silent, and that's great because my mind's never silent. It's always talking to me. It's like a monkey. So yeah, the self-care is definitely like one of the, you need it, else your mental health will really suffer. And especially with, as you know, and others probably know, that I've got a lot of health issues as well. So making sure that when that sort of flares, I'm coping with it and taking my time out and thinking, look, I can move my clients, they all understand. I'm not being lazy by taking a day and just sitting on the sofa and just watching the TV with my dogs, because I'll be better tomorrow. But if I power on and on and on, it'll be a worse flare for me in the end, because I'll be that tired. I'll be like, I just won't be any use to anybody. So that really helps. But also letting customers go if they're not the right fit as well. That has really helped. Making sure that I got a good connection with the customers, and that when they come in for their meet and treats, which is a must, they have to do the meet and treats, else I won't let them come in. I can kind of get a vibe off them. You know, I think you can sense off people whether you're going to match or not. And I can sort of I don't like to say lay down the law, but I can just sort of say, you know, this is how I groom. You know, if they don't agree, then they don't have to come, because there's hundreds of us groomers all over this area where I am. I'm not the only one. So they need to sort of align with like what I'm, my ethics really, and what I'm doing.
And again, that ties into self-care as well, because then that's taking the pressure off of you, that kind of expectation with the wrong client. So I mean, that's just, I'm so pleased, and I'm so pleased you incorporate the meet and treat as well, because that just makes my heart sing. I'm like, honestly,
it needs to be done.
It does, doesn't it? You just have to know what you're dealing with before you bombard yourself with it. I don't know why that's not in the curriculum as a kind of mandatory part of the service, because you're just setting yourself up for so much heartache going forward if you don't prepare.
Yeah, that's what happens. This is when you see a lot of, you know, they've had to take all the dog's coat off because it's really matted, but there's been no sort of conversation, there's no warning, and they come back and it's like, what have you done to my dog? It's like, if you'd had a meet and treat for 10 minutes and explained why, then that lowers that sort of brings the expectation into a bit more of a reality.
It's that transparency, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. Of my honest to God, like, you could actually see the amount of stories even before I started doing things differently as well, and it was just the arguments you would get into, and you just think like it's so much stress at the end of the day, and then you just start self-doubting because you think maybe I was wrong to click with that dog, you know, maybe I should have tried to demat, and it just gives you so much self-doubt, and then that feeling of failure. So no, if anyone's watching, definitely start incorporating. If you've not got to that unit yet, which you probably haven't because you're quite new, some of you, the meet and treat covered in, I think, unit 3 now, and you'll be glad to know, Lorna, that it was unit 8 self-care when you did it. I think I've moved to unit 1 now, so it's the very first thing that the groomers now work on, because it is, like you say, the most important part of our job is our own self-care. Is there any doggies in particular that you're proud of, or that you're currently working with, that you think is quite a good reflection of the work ethics that you have in place now?
Yeah, I've got a couple. So I've got one called Ralph. He's a Labradoodle. I love him. He's so lovely. So he used to go to a previous groomers, like a little bit away from here. And the lady said that when he'd go in, he'd be shivering. He was just shaking. And when she collected him, she said he always looked wonderful, but as he'd come out, he'd poo everywhere and he'd wee everywhere and he'd throw up. And I was like, it's not right. That shouldn't be happening. You know, he's obviously gone through a lot of stress in there to make him feel like that. So they were worried because his legs would get matted because he's like a cream colour, so he's just prone to matting. So we worked on the bucket game. Oh, let's have a go with Ralph. So we used liver, like chopped up liver. Stinks. But it let us touch him a little bit with a brush. He's not 100% still. He's still not that keen. But if you say to him, Ralph, where's your bucket? His ears go up. He looks at his bucket. We do a little bit, treat a little bit. And we just keep going. And if he gets fed up, he's not on any restraints at all on the table, so that he sort of gets off. But then he'll come back and you jump back on, and we'll do a little bit more. And the guardian's really happy because when he gets to my house, he's got his head sticking out the car, and he comes running up to the salon.
That is it. That's just cold, isn't it?
Yeah, and jumps onto the table. He jumped onto the table from a high table the other day. He was like, "No, what are you doing?" But he's really come on. I couldn't touch him with the brush there when he first came, and now I can. So that's progress, and I'm quite happy with that. The other one is Rosie, and she's a Romanian rescue dog. So Rosie was transported over here, and the first thing they did was Groomer. So she'd been on that massive journey in a crate, not knowing what the hell was going on, groomed, shaved off, and then that was it. She couldn't cope. So the lady brought it to me. We're still working on bathing because she really stresses in the bath, and I'm trying to think of different ways because I don't want to put her in the bath because she's too upset. So I might be buying a mud daddy to have a little go with one of them. But you couldn't touch her at all with anything when she came in. Now I can brush her, I can clip her toenails, I can take the clippers across her with the comb attachment on to sort of her shoulder. She won't let me go any further because she was obviously chained, and around her neck she's scarred. So this area is so sensitive that I don't go there. She'll let me go with thinners, so we'll do a little bit of thinning on her face, but I'm happy and the lady's happy to stop at that point because we've come so far, and you can see how far we've come, and the lady always says, "Oh, we've come so far since the beginning." I'm like, yeah, she's doing really well. I mean, she has a licky mat, she has a liver paste, she leaves with more like pate around her face than a clean face, but she's clean. And like after I watched your chat with Daniela, and you started talking about the dogs didn't have to be bathed constantly, I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to take that along with me because she doesn't need it, and there are other ways.
If it's not a health concern, then don't. I would either. Do you know what I've found as well? And it's really key. I was just speaking to my husband about it earlier today. See obviously my wee dog, so like poodles, you have to kind of bath more frequently. I've got a wee miniature poodle. Now I've had to pick ticks off of her in the past, right? So, but it's obviously nobody really thinks twice about that because obviously the seasons and whatever. But I've never ever had any parasites on the big dogs, the Tibetan Mastiffs, and they're the ones that I only bath once a year. And it makes you wonder, because remember, I don't know if you ever heard this kind of rumour at school, like I remember my mum saying at the time, if you get nits, it's because you've got clean hair.
Yeah, I heard that as well, yeah.
And now it makes me wonder, I'm like, is it maybe the products that we're using that's attracting these like the parasites to the dogs? I don't know. It's such a curious like kind of thought. I was like, I wonder if that's got anything in it.
It's interesting. It's really interesting because you don't know, and it's like I did the free part of the data, is it?
Yeah.
I did the free part of that, and I learned so much just in that one part. And then when she spoke about curly hair, my head would, yeah, because I've got naturally curly hair, but I straighten it and I know that heating it is damaging it.
Yeah.
So is that damaging those curly coats by that constant pulling to make it straight?
Yeah, they're fluffy.
So yeah,
You
so
can see it break when you brush it, can't you? I can see it when I brush Lola. That's why nowadays actually I don't, because I've done my level 2 data now, and now I don't even bother fluff drying Lola. Lola doesn't like it anyway, but maybe that is why. Maybe it's because they can actually feel that.
yeah. Well, I do know, because when I have my hair straightened at the hairdressers, it's a pulling it. It gets pulled. I've got no feeling in my scalp.
Oh, no.
My mum used to hit me on the head with a brush to straighten it when I was little. So I'm used to it. But then I do use that quite a lot with people, and I talk about having curly hair and saying, you know, if I never did anything with my hair, you know, I'd be matted and stuff. And I try and use like those sort of, try to get it in a real world thing for people. But like bathing and stuff, as you say, like my collie, he's scared of water. So once or twice a year, I've just managed to get him in the bath by like teaching him to run in with a bit of fish and getting him in and out and in and out. And we did that because I went over to Happy Henry's. I don't know, you know, Victoria.
Yes,
So she got him in. She was getting him to go see her legs and everything. I was like, I can't do anything with him. And she's like,
what I was talking about when I said, remember you're getting somebody in to talk and actually network with. It was Victoria I was talking about. Yeah.
She's brilliant. She's so like energetic. But he was in the bath with her and like having his treats and stuff. And I'm like, I can't get him my bath. It's one of those plastic ones. And she's got like a big open like doggy wash one. But just by showing me how to do that, it's got me in the bath and I've been able to bath him. But I don't want to do that to him because I know how stressed he is. So, you know, we go in the salon, he'll have a little brush and a lick him out and he goes back out. Yeah, he's happy. He doesn't smell that bad. And you know, as long as he's happy, I'm not fussed about him smelling like a baby powder.
And that also kills me. Like I honestly, back in the day, obviously you did because you think that's what you do. And I used to get all the designer replicas, know how like the Louis Vuitton or whatever it was, like the stupid designer things. And you used to go, well, that's really nice. But see, when you were around it permanently, it was so bad. Like you would get headaches. And you just wonder, with you know that heightened sense of smell that dogs have, how are they feeling on a daily basis having to sniff that? Because that's horrendous, honestly. Just everything makes you just think twice now. The more you know, the less you want to know. You're like,
I've got to that stage where like we went out yesterday to a local place called Ironbridge, which is like a lovely like Victorian place by the River Severn. It's beautiful, but every man, woman, child, dog was out there. And I just thought it's so busy. There's motorbikes revving past and stuff. And I look at these dogs and I think, is this your first outing? Like, do you often go a walk? And then it's just overload. And I'm watching and I'm like, I'll say to my husband, that dog doesn't look happy. Look at its legs, look at its ears. Oh, it's got a whale eye. And you'll be like,
I can relate to that big time. And you end up, your relationship starts to get affected by it because Scott always goes, here we go, the dog police. And you go, but I can't help it because once you see it, you can't unsee it anymore.
You can't, no, you just can't, and you can't say anything because you're going to be the, you know it all. He's just sent me a little message actually with a picture of 2 kittens that were for sale, and just like, and I'm like, we're not having a kitten. He's cat mad, you see. We've just got dogs. But yeah, like I see it with my own dogs. So we loop in. He's here now. He's sitting in. He's fast asleep in the corner. He comes with me everywhere. The world's quite scary to him. So I try to make it less scary, you know. And as with Jess, she's more like jolly and happy, and she's always wagging her tail, and she's just a happy dog. You can see it. She gets to go out and do her sniffing, and she's happy doing that. He's more, oh my God, there's a person there. Oh my God, there's another dog there. Oh, that man's scaring me. Or there's a child. And I do a lot of like walking up and hiding behind walls with him and like giving him his treats so that people can come past. And I think sometimes I'm going to work a lot more on canine enrichment with him and do stuff in the garden with him so that he's trigger stacking. He's lower than because when he goes out and I see him barking at another dog, I'm like, oh my God, he's got a candle lit, or his bucket's filling.
Yes, yeah. Remember to always think in the back of your mind, you cannot eradicate all stress.
No, yeah.
Trying to just keep him below threshold.
Yeah, to keep him balanced.
Yeah. Otherwise you'd be nervous, right? You're like, I'm the same. I've been trying as well, because I've got 4 dogs. I've been trying to walk them individually as well, because
I do that, yeah.
So the only time I'll walk them together now is if I'm going to the forest where I can let them all go. Otherwise it's individual walks now, and it just means I can adapt to suit the individual needs. So I guess my last question for you would be, have you found that your relationship with your own dogs has changed since you've taken the HGA course, but since you've kind of evolved your knowledge as well?
Yeah, definitely from what harnesses they wear to, I'm not big into the canine nutrition side yet. It's not something I've really touched on, but I really enjoy the enrichment stuff. I love the free work, the Tilly Farm stuff. I like to make sure that they've got a comfortable place, that if they want to go and sleep, they go and sleep. They're not being touched and woken up, and taking them out of a situation if I can see that they're finding it a stressful situation. So I love them even more. They're my babies. And I just want to do the best for them, and then for any dogs that may come in the future, that I've got an even better starting point now for those dogs, so they'll hopefully have an even better life that I can give them. So yeah,
that's the kind of goal, isn't it? You just want what's best for them, and you just don't. It's like children, you just never stop worrying about them. Jack, please go through. I'm still working on it. Don't listen. Right, come on, go away. So if you could give the students one piece of advice, what would that be?
Ask if you need help.
Yeah.
Ask and don't worry, because you can do it, and it's you're supportive, you're easy to talk to, you're not going to be made to feel like you're stupid for not knowing.
And sometimes I don't even know the answer, so that's a really fair point to make. I'm like, I actually don't know that, the answer to that question. I think that the important thing people need to remember is that we're all learning. Yeah, we're all growing together, and I've learned so much from a lot of the students, most of the students, in fact all of the students. I've learned something valuable from every single person. So it's not like I know everything either. So ask the question and ask it publicly, because the chances are someone else might be thinking the same thing. Yeah, grow your network, definitely grow your network. I mean, I didn't think when I started your course that like in less than a month I'll be standing up in front of people and talking about grooming the way I groom in front of like potential new clients with a trainer, and it's like, that isn't me, but I'm going to be doing it. I've done a PowerPoint and everything, so it's getting the word out. In the press as well. Yeah. I had they came and did a quite a big piece actually, which is really nice. Didn't translate into clients, but my face was in the paper and the word was out, and that's all I care about. It's like, getting more groomers on board and them understanding. Even tempted now to maybe contact the colleges, see if I'm going and talk. We'll see. They probably won't let me, but I think you have to try, don't you? Yeah, I actually think you'd be surprised how many people. What I found from Dogs Trust there was that more people are open-minded to listening. Like, I was shocked at the amount of professionals that turned up, because I didn't think that it would be as successful as what it was, and they were coming from all over the world. There was a dog judge who actually travelled from Austria. Oh. To hear what people had to say. It's unbelievable how open-minded the industry is actually becoming. So definitely get in there. Let me know how you got on with the college as well, and if you need any references or whatever, I'll give you. Oh, that would be great. So that's actually the answer to my question. What's your plans next then? So that's definitely your plans. That's a plan, and there is I still want to do the behaviourist course, through, I think it's Dog Genius. So I rang this morning and spoke to Bridget Barton, who's a dog behaviourist, hoping to shadow her, but she's actually stopped now. She's doing a lot of more like stuff. I was like, oh. But she did say that
I would get support if I got myself on the course. So yeah, and I've been thinking about it for a while, but if I do, it'll be next year because I'm having a year off, a break. I need to put it into practice now.
You do, you need a break. You
need
definitely need, yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
I need a break, not thinking, oh, I've got to go in there and do some work today and forcing myself in to do work. So just have a break now and watch my programs, do some gardening, because I'm 41 now. Now I need to be in the garden.
I don't know, because I've just went and bought a garden furniture set, so I'm tending to spending a lot more time in the garden now as well.
I like being outside. If I'm outside, I'm happy in the sunshine. So yeah, so then hopefully next year.
Right, well then, I will look forward to hearing all about it, but I really want you to keep in touch with me regarding the college lectures, because I definitely think you should be doing that. But other than that, thank you so much for joining me tonight, Lorna. Please keep in touch, keep active within the space as well, because I'm sure people will ask questions to all of the graduates at some point if they need help or advice or support. But like I say, just keep in touch with us all, and it's an absolute pleasure to just reconnect with you as well and hear a wee bit about your successes. So thank you.
Great, thank you for having me on.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for joining us as well. And yeah, we'll see. The next one I think is on Friday. But what is this, Wednesday today? No, this is Monday, isn't it?
I wish it was Wednesday.
Mother, honestly, it's baby brain. Can I still say that? It's like it's nearly a year now, but yes. So today's Monday, the next one's Wednesday, I think. So yeah, we'll look forward to that as well. But in the meantime, have a lovely evening and get yourself out in the garden because it's still light.
It's nice and warm still.
I know. All right, night, Lorna. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.